Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Okay, so I will today, at least at the beginning, I'll just go to another section of Srimad Bhagavatam. This part actually is describing Vidura left home. How many of you remember that incident? Vidura left home, the kingdom of Hastinapur, the palace of Hastinapur. Once again, how many of you remember that incident? Very good. How many of you don't remember that incident or don't know the incident? How many of you want to hear that incident? Okay. So, Vidura is the half-brother of Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Dhritarashtra is the elder brother, and then the next is Pandu, and the youngest brother of these three. They all were actually sons of Vasudev. How many of you know that they are the sons of Vasudev? How many of you don't know that how they are the sons of Vasudev? Okay, so now it takes us to another area. How many of you want to hear? Okay, now I have to start telling the whole of Mahabharata. Okay. Let's start off with King Shantanu. Mind you, this is the history of India. Mahabharat. Mahabharat actually means the history of great India, which is actually the history of the entire earth planet. There was a very pious king. His name was Shantanu. And he hailed from this very illustrious Kuru dynasty. Kuru dynasty is the dynasty that hails from moon god Somdev. And they were ruling over the entire earth planet. Like previously, there used to be one ruler for the entire planet. In other planets also, it's like the sun planet is ruled by Vivaswan. Moon planet is ruled by Somdev. Similarly, Brihaspati planet is ruled by Brihaspati. Similarly, heavenly planet, Swargaloka, is ruled by Indra. Similarly, the earth planet used to be ruled by one ruler. It's only in the age of Kali, the planet has become fragmented and there is no ruler. From one ruler, they had become many rulers, and now there is no ruler. And everybody is a ruler. Democracy means everybody is a king. Everybody is a king, and they appoint somebody for 4 years or 5 years. And by electing that person, they allow him to exploit them. Anyway, this is the situation of the age of Kali, what to do. So that was not the case in the past. In the past, the entire planet used to be ruled by one ruler. And Shantanu was such a ruler. So while Shantanu was hunting in the forest, he used to be very fond of hunting. And while he was hunting in the forest, he came across an extremely beautiful looking girl. And he asked her who she was. He proposed that whether she would marry him. And she agreed on a condition that he would never question her actions and he would never prevented her from doing what she wanted to do. So Shantanu agreed. And he got married to this particular lady. Who is this lady? She is Ganga Devi herself. So Shantanu got married to Ganga. Now that also leads us to another incident in the past. That incident is, there are a set of demigods called Vasus. There are 8 of them. They are known as Ashtavashus, Vasus. And these Vasus, along with their wives, they were flying over Vashishta Muni's ashram. And in Vashishta Muni's ashram, they saw this beautiful cow. This cow is the daughter of Surabhi. The name of the cow is Nandini. So one of the Vasu's wife wanted to have the cow. And they said, look, this cow belongs to Vashishta. And we should not try to take that. But she kept on insisting, no, I want this cow, I want this cow. So they decided to take the cow without Vashishta's knowledge. At that time, Vashishta was not in the ashram. So when Vashishta came back, he found that the cow Nandini was missing. And so he sat down in his meditation and he saw what happened. He saw these Vasus came and stole the cow. So he felt that these demigods, Vasus, they are not fit to live in the heavenly planets. Their nature is not befitting a demigod's nature. So Vashishta cursed them that you go and take birth in the earth planet. So when the Vasus got to know about that, they came to Vashishta and pleaded, please forgive us, we made a mistake. Vashishta said that when a word leaves my mouth, is bound to come true. So what I have said is bound to happen. You have to take birth in the earth planet as human beings. But you can be delivered right after your birth. You'll take birth, but right after your birth, you will leave. You will come back to the heavenly planet. But the one who stole the cow, he'll have to stay there for a long, long time. So they didn't want to take birth in any ordinary womb. So they appealed to Mother Ganga. Can you please bear us as your children? Because we have been cursed, and please, you become our mother and bear us and give us birth in the earth planet as human beings. So Ganga agreed. Now that takes us back to another incident. There was a very pious king. this king had been elevated due to his pious activities. He was elevated to the Brahmaloka, Satyaloka, the abode of Lord Brahma. And so he was in the assembly of Lord Brahma. At that time, Ganga came carrying the water for Brahma's worship of the Lord. She personally brought the water. And at that time, in a wind, her sari got displaced, and her breast became exposed. And when everyone looked downwards, this king kept on looking at her. So Brahma noticed that, and Brahma said, "You are not fit to live in Satyaloka. Go back to the earth planet." But since you desired Ganga, you will get her as your wife. So this particular king was born as Shantanu. And by the divine arrangement, Ganga now became his wife. And these Vasus also wanted to be born by Ganga, so Ganga agreed to bear them. And that's why Ganga made that condition. So they got married, a child was born. Can you imagine what kind of festivity takes place when a child is born in a family? The first child is born, not in the family of an ordinary person. He was born as the son of the king. But Ganga took the child, walked up to the river, and dropped the child in the water. You can well imagine the condition of everyone there at that time. Shantanu remembered his condition and didn't question, didn't stop her. In this way, one after another, 7 children, right after their birth, were drowned in the river. Now you consider how, when you look at things from a broader perspective, what a clearer picture we get. The background story is that they were cursed to take birth and they will be delivered right after their birth. It is a benediction for them. But here it is such a terrible act. Right after the birth of the child, the mother is drowning the child in the river. But when the 8th child was born, king couldn't prevent himself. He said, "How can you do this? Please spare this child." And she said, "Fine. I will spare this child, but I have to leave now." So, and she said, "I'll take this child with me until he grows up, and when he grows up, I'll send him back to you." Saying that, Ganga left, went back to the spiritual world. Now, who is this one? The 8th one, 8th Vasu, who stole the cow and who was cursed to be here for a long, long time. And who is this? This is Devavrata. And when he was 16 years old, in the meantime, Shantanu was very heartbroken. His wife left him with the son. And one day, he used to be very fond of hunting. So one day when he was hunting in the forest, then all of a sudden he noticed that the river Ganga is not flowing. And so he became curious. So he started to move towards towards upstream. And then he found that one young boy by shooting arrows, he is preventing the flow of Ganga. The river is flowing, but the river stopped because of this boy. By shooting arrows, he is stopping the movement. So he was surprised to see who this boy. I mean, such an amazing skill in warfare, using weapons, using arrows. So then Ganga came out, said, "This is your son. Now I came to return him to you." So this boy, who was named as Devavrata, became very, very fond of his father, and the father also became very fond of him. So they became inseparable personalities. They're constantly together, all the time. And Shantanu in his son found a son, a friend, a companion. Then one day, Shantanu was hunting in the forest, and all of a sudden he smelled some beautiful fragrance. And he became curious to find out where the fragrance was coming from. So when he went to the source of that fragrance, he found an extremely beautiful girl. She was taking the people across the river in a boat. So he approached her, "I want to marry you." She said, "Well, please speak to my father." So Shantanu went and spoke to the father. This girl happens to be the daughter of the king of the fishermen. And she was blessed by Parasar Muni that she will have the fragrance from a body that would spread up to 1 yojana radius. 1 yojana is 4 kroshas, that is 8 miles. In 8-mile radius, that fragrance of lotus. Therefore her name became Padma Gandha or Jojan Gandha, whose fragrance would spread for 1 yojana. So King Shantanu approached the king of the fishermen, and the king of the fishermen said, "Look, I can give you my daughter. It's a great honor to me. The king is asking me for my daughter. But I can offer her to you only on one condition, that her son has to become the ruler of the kingdom. Her son has to become the king." Shantanu said, "Look, I already have a son who has already been coronated in the throne." He said, "Bad luck. I can't offer you my daughter." So heartbroken, King Shantanu went back to his kingdom, his palace. And Devavrata noticed that his father looked so morose. So he asked him, and he said, "No, nothing happened. Everything is all right." He didn't want to admit anything. So he went and asked the chariot driver, "Tell me, did something happen today that my father is so depressed?" So he said, "Yes." And he narrated the whole incident. So he said, "Can you tell me where it is?" So he said, "Yes." So please take me to that Dhivara Raj, the king of the fishermen. So Devavrata went to him, and he said, "Look, your father did approach, but you see, the astrological chart, astrological calculation says that my daughter's son will become the king. Therefore, I laid that condition that her son has to be the king. So that is the destiny, that is the divine arrangement. So I have to give my daughter to somebody where her son is going to become the king. So Bhishma said, okay, then I relinquish my right to the kingdom. So he said, okay, fine, very nice. But what about your children? You may relinquish your right over the kingdom, but your children, when they grow up, then they'll start fighting over the kingdom. Then Bhishma said, in that case, I will not get married. Now, it is a terrible vow for a warrior, for a kshatriya. Meaning those who are in the mode of passion, for them to control their urges is very, very difficult. Especially living in such luxury, surrounded by all these beautiful women, and the whole atmosphere is so provocative. In that atmosphere, to remain a celibate, remain a brahmachari is very, very difficult. So because he took such a terrible vow, the demigods started to exclaim, Bhishma, Bhishma, meaning what a terrible vow he has taken. And at the same time, they started to shower flowers from the heaven. And that is how he got the name Bhishma. So in this way, the arrangement was made for Shantanu to marry this girl whose actual name was Satyavati. So, Satyavati, through Satyavati, Shantanu, anyway, so Bhishma, so in this way, Bhishma actually took that vow of lifelong celibacy. Then through Satyavati, Shantanu got two sons, Chitrangada and Vichitravirja. Chitrangada was a very powerful person. He became the king after Shantanu left this planet. But then this Chitrangada got into a conflict with a Gandharva king whose name was also Chitrangada. Actually, the Chitrangada's fame was spreading so widely everywhere, even in the heavenly planets, that this Gandharva king Chitrangada became envious. So he confronted him. He said, look, there has to be one Chitrangada. So let's fight. And they fought for a long, long time. But finally, Chitrangada, the son of Shantanu, succumbed and he was killed. Then his younger brother, Vichitravirja, became the king. Now, when one ascends the throne, the king has to get married. Generally, one has to be married when he ascends the throne. But he was a young boy. So Bhishma decided that selecting, considering different qualified candidates for his marriage, he considered that the three daughters of Kashiraj are the suitable candidate. They're extremely beautiful, extremely qualified, and they were actually the incarnations of Durga Devi. So Bhishma decided to have them as the bride for Vichitravirja. So Bhishma, at that time, these three girls were to offer their select their husbands. The Kshatriyas also has a culture or custom of selecting their own husband according to their choice. And many kings are invited, kings and princes. And the princess selects her husband. And it's a terrible culture actually. Like, you see, there are so many kings and princes, and so they all actually came to win this girl, and she selects one of them. So then generally, all the other kings attack him. Because the Kshatriyas are like that. That's the nature of a warrior. And so, not only win the girl, now they have to conquer these other kings to have her. That used to generally happen. Like other kings would attack, and that's what happened. And actually, when Bhishma came, he arrived in that assembly, and he announced. Everybody was surprised. So Bhishma, who had the vow not to ever get married, look at him. And maybe he got bewildered by the beauty of these princesses. And they started to laugh at him and passing remarks. Then Bhishma said, I am such and such, son of Shantanu, from such and such dynasty, Chandravamsa. My brother Vichitravirja, he is the successor to the throne, and I have come to claim these 3 girls for him. So if anybody wants to stop me, good luck. So this is how Bhishma made the challenge. And saying that, he picked up these 3 girls on the chariot and he moved. So all the other kings attacked him, but Bhishma fought alone and defeated all of them. The one who was really completely vicious in challenging Bhishma and fighting with him was a king Shalva. And Shalva, Amba, the eldest daughter, already selected him as her husband. So she gave her heart to Shalva. So Bhishma, when he was taking, after defeating Shalva, Bhishma was taking the girls, princesses, and he brought them to the kingdom. So then Amba, the eldest of the 3, told that, look, I gave my heart already to Shalva. So then Bhishma consulted the brahmanas, the wise brahmanas there in the assembly, what to do. And they all said, okay, if she has already given her heart to him, then let her go to him. So Bhishma let her go. So she went to Shalva, proposing that, look, I gave my heart to you and please accept me. So Shalva, this is another nature of the Kshatriyas. Actually, from these anecdotes, we can get to see the noble characters of these personalities. Shalva said, look, a lion never eats others' remnants. And that's the nature of a lion. Lion kills the animal itself, and it only eats that animal that it has killed. Otherwise, a lion in wilderness will not touch the animal that has been killed by others. So saying that he meant that you have been won by him, he has taken you, so now you are doing me a charity. Oh, take her back. She said, no, get lost. Rather go and ask him to marry you. Because he has claimed you, he has taken you. So Amba then went back to Bhishma and said, "You have to marry me." Shalda didn't accept me. Then Bhishma said, "Look, I took a vow of lifelong celibacy. I'm not going to marry anyone." She said, "When you lifted me on the chariot holding my hand, by that action you have actually accepted me." So this is also how pure the Vedic culture is. That when somebody holds a woman by hand, that means he has accepted her as his wife. So she said, "Look, he rejected me. You are not accepting me. Tell me, what shall I do?" So Bhishma was feeling sad for her. "Look, I mean, what can I do? I have taken a vow and I cannot break my vow." So heartbroken, this girl went to her grandfather, who was in the forest and who was taken Vanaprastha life, and he was living in a forest. So she went and told him the whole incident. So he said, "Don't worry, Parashuram is Bhishma's guru, and Parashuram is my friend. So I'll ask Parashuram to do something. Ask Parashuram to ask him to marry you." So Parashuram came and her grandfather told Parashuram. So Parashuram said, "Okay, don't worry, I will ask him so to marry you." So Parashuram went to Bhishma and said, "Bhishma, marry this girl. She's so qualified, so beautiful." Bhishma said, "Look, I have taken a vow of lifelong celibacy." He said, "That's all right, that's all right. I'm your guru, I'm instructing you. So you can break your vow." Bhishma said, "No, I can't. I've taken a vow and I'm going to stick to my vow." And he actually said some very, very heavy stuff at that time. He said, if the guru doesn't know what to do or not to do, that guru should be rejected. Gururapyavaliptasya karja karjam ajanata utpatha pratipannasya parityaga hi vidhiyate. Parityaga means reject. Parshuram got very, very angry. He said, "Come fight with me." So Parshuram is actually Bhishma's Astra Shiksha Guru. He taught him the art of fighting. And they fought for a long, long time. No one could defeat anyone. They are equally powerful. And at one point, Parshuram asked, "Bhishma, I'm really happy with you, with your warfare. Ask for a benediction." Then Bhishma said, "If you want to give me a benediction, then stop fighting. Give me that benediction." So Parshuram stopped fighting and he went and told Amba, "Amba, see, I tried my best, but I couldn't do anything." So saying that, Parshuram left. And Amba also, you have to remember, she's a Kshatriya woman. Not only the Kshatriya men have the attitude of revenge, she also. So she decided to give up her body in order to kill Bhishma. So she entered into fire. And this Amba actually became Shikhandi, the son of King Drupad. Anyway, so then Vichitravirja got married to Ambika and Ambalika, and he became so attached to them, and Like he was spending all his time with them, and eventually he developed tuberculosis and he died. Now, the family line is broken. No one is there to continue the family line. So, Satyavati requested Bhishma to get married for the sake of maintaining the family. Bhishma said, no, I can't. Then Satyavati told, okay, in that case, you procreate in the womb of these two queens, Ambika and Ambalika. Because in the Vedic culture, this is also accepted, that when there is a need like this, when the husband dies, then the brother can actually procreate in the womb of the departed brother's wife's womb. So Bhishma was asked to do that. Bhishma declined, no, I can't. And at that time, Satyavati told him, when she saw that Bhishma is undaunted, and then she said that, look, when I was a young girl, once Parashar Muni came to cross the river, and being attracted by me, he wanted my company, and as a result of that, a son was born. But although the son was born, my chastity was intact. So these great personalities act on the arrangement of providence with certain purpose. And this personality, the son that was born, is Vasudev. So she said, in that sense, Vasudev is the half-brother of Vichitra, my son. So it was decided, then Bhishma said, then call him. Let him procreate. A personality like Vasudev, if he procreates in the womb, that will be the best thing. And so Vasudev was called, and so Vasudev agreed, but he made a condition that let them first get purified. Let them get purified for 1 year before they conceive. So he's told that I'll come after 1 year. So these girls were told that Ambika, and Ambika was actually hoping, when she heard that her husband's brother is coming, so she thought it was Bhishma. But then she saw Vasudev, a fierce-looking sage who lives in the forest, long beard and matted hair, copper complexion, burning like fire, and extremely powerful, like eyes are beautiful eyes, but glowing like two burning cinders, and such powerful form. Seeing that, she closed her eyes. So after that, when Vasudev came out, Satyavati asked whether everything was all right. So he said, yes, everything was all right. A son will be born. Extremely powerful. He'll have the strength of 10,000 elephants. He'll be so strong. But he'll be blind. Because she closed her eyes, therefore he'll be blind. So then Satyavati requested, then please have another son, because a blind son cannot become the successor to the throne. So Vasudev agreed, and in the womb of Ambalika, he produced Pandu. Seeing Vasudev, she didn't close her eyes, but her complexion, she became pale. Like out of fear, one becomes pale. All the color disappears from the body. That's what happened to her. So Vasudev said that this son will be extremely virtuous, but his complexion will be pale. So then Satyavati asked, please have another son. So this time, when Ambika was told to conceive another child, Ambika felt that she can't face that situation. So she got her maidservant, also a very beautiful looking woman, but she was attending her, extremely qualified girl. And this girl treated Vasudev very nicely, and as a result of that, Vidura was born. So this is how the three brothers came from Vasudev. And because Vidura was born in the womb of a maidservant, although they're called maidservant, they're actually the companions, coming from big, nice family, good families. But because they're attending the queen, often they actually come, they're childhood friends. They grow up together. And when they get married, along with the princess, her friends also come to the house and they kind of attend the queen. So in that way, it is like they're Sudrani. So Vidura was considered to be the son of a Sudra. Now Dhritarashtra is blind, Pandu was pale, but Pandu was extremely powerful personality. When he was ruling the kingdom, I mean the kingdom was prospering like anything. And Vidura was extremely wise. Vidura was the son of Dharmaraj, Jamraj, the incarnation of Jamraj. And anyway, and Vidura was Yudhishthir Maharaj, Dhritarashtra was blind and Vidura was his constant companion. He was his brother, he was his friend, he was his advisor, he was his minister. And so when the Pandavas, now let's come back to the main story. The Pandavas were fighting. The Pandavas claimed their kingdom, came back. Pandavas were already defeated in a game of deceitful dice. It was played by Shakuni, who was a wizard in the game of dice. And Pandavas lost everything. Just in a few hours' time, they lost everything, their kingdom, their wealth, even their brothers. Yudhishthir Maharaj became so carried away in such a way that when he lost everything, he started to stake his brothers. Nakul, Sahadev, Arjun, Bhim. Then finally he staked Draupadi. And he lost Draupadi also. And that is the time, as you know, Draupadi now became the property of Duryodhana. And Draupadi was brought into this assembly by Dushashan, holding her by her hair, dragged her into the assembly. The five brothers, the greatest warriors of all time, just sat there with their eyes downcast when their wife was being insulted in this way in the assembly. So this is also another aspect of Vedic culture. They're extremely truthful. In a game of dice, they lost Draupadi. Now they're also the slaves of the Pandavas, Duryodhana. And so it's not appropriate, it's not proper for a servant to stand up against the master. Even when their wife was being insulted in this way, they didn't stand up against him. But due to the intervention of the seniors, it was considered that let there be another game, and in this game, if they win, they'll get everything back. But if they lose, then they have to go to exile for 12 years. And for 1 year, they have to remain incognito. And if anyone during this 1 year's time is recognized, if any one of these five brothers and Draupadi, then the condition will repeat. Another 12 years of exile and 1 year in incognito. Duryodhana was confident that these five brothers and Draupadi, they are so well known and they are so outstanding that wherever they are, they'll be recognized. Draupadi will be recognized for her beauty, and the Pandavas will be recognized by their valor. And so after these 12 years of exile and 1 year of incognito, when they came back, Duryodhana refused to give the kingdom back on the plea that 13 years was not yet complete. This also is another story. But anyway, I won't go into that. Or should I briefly tell you? Huh? No or yes? Yes. Okay, how many yes? Okay. So for this 1 year that they were supposed to remain incognito, they went to the palace of King Virat. And one after another they went in disguise. Yudhishthir Maharaj went as an expert dice player. The king, Virat, was very fond of playing dice. So he just immediately accepted, oh, you can be my companion. So he accepted him. Now, see, everybody knew that Yudhishthir Maharaj was the worst dice player on the planet. And now he is such an expert dice player because he had been blessed by a great personality that he would become an expert in playing dice. Then Bhima went there as a cook. Arjun was blessed, or not blessed, cursed by Urvashi that for 1 year he would become an eunuch. And that's another story. I'm not going into that. And so Arjun for 1 year became an eunuch. And Nakul became the stableman, the expert horse trainer. And Shahadev went as the keeper of the Goshala, an expert of cow keeping. So 5 brothers in this way went to King Virat's, and Draupadi became a hairdresser, Brihannala. I'm sorry, Draupadi, anyway, yeah, so this is how they went there and stayed in disguise, started to stay in the palace of Virat in disguise. They went through a lot of tribulations during that time, especially Draupadi. This way we can see that how difficult it is for a beautiful young girl to be unprotected. So that's why the Vedic culture is that young girls should always be protected. And this is one unfortunate state of affairs in this age, that young girls are taken out of their house and into jobs and all. So, but that is completely opposed to the Vedic culture. In Vedic culture, a woman is always protected. In her childhood, she is protected. In her youth, she is protected. In her old age, she is protected. That is the Vedic culture. Anyway, so now, once Draupadi was very badly treated by the general of King Virat, who was actually his brother-in-law. And he was very powerful, and he was the general, and he was so powerful that Virat was always afraid of him and didn't dare to go against him. His name was Kichak. So Kichak became attracted by this Sairendri. Sairendri means, you can say beauty queen, beauty, what's called, hairdresser or beauty aid, who kind of used to dress the queen up, do her hairdressing and beautification. So Kichak, once he came to his sister's place and saw Sairendri, he became attracted and he proposed to her. But she tried to. But then once she told her sister to send her to his palace. And although Sairendri, Draupadi, didn't want to go, but she was forced to, and with an assurance that no, nothing will happen to you, etc. But when she went there, Kichak tried to act smart with her. And we can see that although he was a general, must have been so powerful. So when he approached her, she pushed him, and he fell on the ground. So you can see even the women were so powerful, the Kshatriya women. And then she ran into the king in the assembly. When the king was there with Yudhishthir Maharaj playing dice. And Kichak came, and in front of Yudhishthir Maharaj and King Virat, he kicked her. Yudhishthir Maharaj tolerated it. But when Bhim got to know, actually Draupadi told Bhima that, look, my heart is burning due to that insult. Please do something about it. Then Bhima said, okay, you do one thing. You tell him to come to the newly built auditorium, Natyashala, at night, and you will be waiting for him. You'll be waiting for him. So he was very excited. So he went there. In the darkness of night, he didn't see who was there. So he thought that it was Draupadi. But who was actually lying was Bhima on that bed, literally waiting for him. And a fight ensued. And it was a little far away, so nobody could hear any sound of their fight. And Bhima beat him up in such a way. Actually, Bhima, all his anger that pented up for last 13 years, he vented that on him. Just kept on. He beat him up in such a way that he couldn't be identified as anything. It was just a lump The flesh, bone, everything was smashed into just a ball of whatever you call, a ball of minced meat. And then they found out what actually happened. And when they found out that Trajanri was the cause of that, they decided that since Kichak left his body desiring her, she should also be thrown into the fire to go with him. So again, Bhim came, and the procession that was carrying his body, along with Draupadi, he finished them all. And Draupadi said, "Look, be careful, because my husband is a Jaksha, a very powerful Jaksha. So, and he was calling him, Bhima, by his another name, not Bhima. They had different names for each other. So Bhima, hearing her cry, came out and saw what was going on, that they were carrying her to be also cremated along with Kichak. So Bhima, along with the whole battalion of soldiers and all these people, just there, he finished them all up. So this is how powerful these Kshatriyas used to be. Anyway, so when Duryodhan, he who had some enmity with King Virat, got to know that, then he decided to, now that Kichak is dead, so the kingdom is completely without any military protection, so this is the time to attack. So Duryodhan allies were 3 Garthas. So they attacked the kingdom of Virat. So Virat, along with the Pandavas, like the Pandavas came forward saying that, well, I can help you, I am good at this warrior, I am good at that. And so they went and fought the 3 Garthas. And in the meantime, Duryodhan, along with his soldiers, came from the other side and attacked the kingdom. And King Virat had an illustrious collection of cows. So they wanted to steal the cows. And there was no male member in the family. The only male member was Virat's son, Uttar. And Uttar, he was just a little boy. Not a little boy, rather young, 14, 15-year-old boy. So Uttar just kept on bragging that, I wish I had someone to drive my chariot. Then I would have taught these Kauravas. They dared to attack our kingdom. So then Brihannala, Arjun, in disguise as a eunuch, told Uttara, just go and tell them that I know how to ride a chariot. And once I drove Arjun's chariot. So they said, okay, then he can drive my chariot. So they were driving the chariot. But when Uttar came close to the enemy line, he saw it was like an ocean, an endless ocean of soldiers. So seeing that, he became afraid, he jumped out of the chariot and ran. Arjun ran after him, caught him, and said, look, you just drive the chariot. You just control the horses, I will fight. And saying that, Arjun actually kept his weapons in a shalmali tree. So he went and got the weapons from there, and with Uttar driving the chariot, came into the enemy line. And fighting alone, he defeated them. You know how he did that? He used only 2 arrows. The first arrow he shoot at the feet of Bhishma Dev to offer his obeisances. And the other arrow that he shoot, he made everyone fall asleep. And Uttar's brother told that my dear brother, when you defeat them, you bring their silk cloths and ornaments and all those things. So Uttar went and collected all those stuffs and came back. When they came back to their senses, then Duryodhana became excited. Oh, this Arjun, so we caught him. So another 12 years of exile and 1 year of incognito. But Bhishma Dev said, bad luck, Duryodhana. That 13 years is just over. So although 13 years were over, according to the calculation, but Duryodhana didn't want to accept it. That's why he said, no, I won't give the kingdom back. So they have to fight if they want to take their kingdom. So in order to stop this battle, the fratricidal battle, everyone tried. Bhishma Dev tried, Dronacharya tried, Gandhari tried to make him understand that give their kingdom back, don't fight. But Duryodhana wouldn't listen to anyone. Maitreya Rishi came, and Duryodhana, instead of listening to him, he even insulted him. So Maitreya Rishi cursed him. Finally, Krishna came with a proposal in order to stop that battle. Came with a proposal from the Pandavas that you don't have to give them half of the kingdom. Just give them 5 villages to the 5 brothers. They'll be satisfied. But what was Duryodhana's response? Without a battle, I'm not going to give them the piece of land the size of the tip of a needle. So the battle now became inevitable. Not only that, Duryodhana even wanted to capture Krishna. When Krishna came as a messenger with a proposal, Duryodhana thought now Krishna is alone, and if we capture him, then the Pandavas will become without shelter. Because Krishna is their main support. So he thought of arresting Krishna and keep him imprisoned. And at that time, Krishna showed him his universal form. So that made Duryodhana to retreat. But Duryodhana was so wicked, like we can see that a wicked person, no matter whatever they hear, no matter whatever they see, they don't learn. They don't succumb to the wise advice. Although he saw Krishna's form, universal form, Duryodhana's response was, oh, it was some sort of magic. He showed some magic trick. At that time, Dhritarashtra asked Vidura, called Vidura and asked him what should be done. So Vidura came and Vidura told him that, look, if you really want your peace, want your auspiciousness, you want your good fortune, then tell your son to withdraw. You are actually cultivating misfortune personified in your palace, this Duryodhana. Actually, Vidura, when Duryodhana was born, he advised Dhritarashtra to get rid of him. He could see that this person is going to be the cause of the destruction of the whole family. So Vidura then, and here also Vidura gave him the same advice, right in front of Duryodhana and his allies and his associates. In the middle of the assembly, Vidura was fearless. This is the quality of a Brahminical person. He is not afraid of telling the truth. So he told that this person, see, Yudhishthir Maharaj is extremely powerful. Is extremely powerful because he is supported by Bhima in one side and Arjun on the other side. The most powerful person and the greatest warrior of all time. And on top of that, Krishna is in their favor. So who can ever defeat them? Dhritarashtra, just try to understand that your son will never win. Rather, you are going to lose everybody and everything. And as I told you all the time, get rid of this son of yours. So at that point, Duryodhana just stood up and started to insult Vidura, saying that this son of maidservant, look at his nature, whose food he is eating, who is being maintained, those who he is being maintained by, he stands up against them. So get rid of him. Throw him out of this palace with only his life heir with him. So at that time, Vidura left home, dropping his bow and arrow. And he went out on a pilgrimage. So then eventually, after a long time, this is the aspect of Srimad Bhagavatam. He came across Uddhava in Prayag. And he was very happy to see Uddhava. Uddhava, how are you? How is everybody? Then Uddhava told him that Krishna left the planet, Jadus killing each other, fighting with each other, the whole family has been destroyed. He was the only surviving member of the Jadu family. Then Krishna left, Balaram left. Then when Yudhishthir Maharaj got to know about it, he also left his palace and gave up his body along with his 5 brothers in Mahaprasthan. So hearing that, Uddhava just kept on crying. Then Vidura started to cry. Then Uddhava told him that before leaving the planet, Krishna actually advised him and asked him to go to Badarikashram. And so that is why he is, after pilgrimage, he is on the way to Badarikashram. So then Vidura told him, will you please instruct me? Will you please tell me what Krishna told you? The instructions that Krishna gave you, will you also give me the same instructions? Then Uddhava said, no. Krishna actually instructed Maitreya Rishi to instruct you. So in course of time, Maitreya Rishi will give you the instructions. So that's why Vidura actually was eventually met Maitreya Rishi in Haridwar. And Maitreya Rishi instructed him. That is a good part of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is known as Vidur Maitreya Sambad. A lot of things that I have told in 2 days, yesterday and today, is coming from the discussion between Vidura and Maitreya. Maitreya Rishi's advice or instructions to Vidura. Maitreya Rishi is telling the creation stories or anecdotes starting from creation. Eventually, Mahapuran has 10 symptoms. Srimad Bhagavatam is a Mahapuran because it contains 10 aspects: creation, sub-creation, sarga, visarga, sthana, the planetary systems, the structure of the universe, you can say. As the point came up, the universe has 14 planetary systems situated in their respective positions. Poshanam, maintenance. Utayo, the aspect of procreation. Manvantar, the reigns of Manus. Ishanu Katha, the descriptions of the incarnations of the Lord. Then Mukti, Nirodha, Ashraya. Liberation, cessation of the existence, and Ashraya, shelter, or Prabhupada translated this Ashraya aspect as Samam Bonam, the ultimate benefit of everything. So in this way, so through this we can see like how through Maitreya Rishi's descriptions, it's actually starting with the creation, sub-creation, as I was saying, contractor and interior decorator. Sarga is the creation and Visarga is sub-creation. Sthanam, planetary systems, Poshanam, how the Lord maintains everything. So, so Vidura had the good fortune of coming across Maitreya Rishi, and Maitreya Rishi, these are the parts of the initial part of Srimad Bhagavatam is actually Parikshit Maharaj, or rather Shukdev Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj about Vidura Maitreya Sangbad. Vidura is asking and Maitreya Rishi is answering the questions. So, okay, so now today we can go in for question answers maybe, because I noticed that question answer goes on for there are quite a lot of questions coming in, and also we have 40 minutes now. So we can just use this 40 minutes for question answers.
How come Bhishma didn't give Amba to Vishikarvya? Because she had been captured for him, so...
It was, you see, the thing is that she said that she has given her heart to somebody, Shallah. And now the consideration is Bhishma has accepted you, took you by your hand. So Bhishma should actually have you. So that's why.
Guru Maharaj, is there any past to Duryodhana's previous birth?
Is there any?
Any past relationships to his past birth? Duryodhana.
Duryodhan.
Yes.
Duryodhan has been described as the incarnation of Kali. Yes.
Hare Krishna. You spoke Vidura as Dharmaraj.
Yeah.
So my question is, what is the difference between Yamaraj and Dharmaraj?
Yeah, Jamraj is Dharmaraj.
The same, and both the duties also the same for Parikshit?
Yeah, actually Dharmaraj means Jamraj. So Vidura, Jamraj, was cursed by Mandava Muni. And as a result of that, he had to take birth as a Shudra. That's Vidura.
Krishna Maharaj, you mentioned about Shikhandi. I've heard so much. Shikhandi actually was born as a girl. Can you maybe explain a bit more about that, please?
Yeah. She was born as a girl, but then she changed her sex by the mercy of a Gandharva. Like, yeah. Yes, Atma Ananda, পেছনে নিয়ে না.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Was it your pure devotee?
What makes you ask that question, tell me? I mean, what makes you think that he could be a pure devotee?
Because I understood that all the characters in the Mahabharata were an arrangement of the Lord. So that would indicate
Okay, yeah, so good, good. Yeah, ultimately, these pastimes of the Lord are like a drama on a stage. So, in a way, it's like a drama on a stage. And say, when a king organizes a drama, who plays different roles? Just any Tom, Dick, and Harry? Or king's own people? Yeah, even the villain is king's own people, right? And outside the stage, they all are friends. The villain and hero, on the stage, it seems to be they're such, so inimical to each other. Like sometimes it happened in Calcutta, the villain played the role so well that people started to throw shoes at him. Generally, people side with the hero, and the villain is opposed to the hero. So here is the case also. And we can also see what actually happened in the battle of Kurukshetra. Whoever left his body in the battle of Kurukshetra in presence of Krishna, where did they go? They all went to Vaikuntha. So, yes, in a way, you can say outside the stage, not as Duryodhan, because if we think that Duryodhan is a pure devotee, and if everybody starts to follow his example, then we'll be in trouble. So from these act dramas, we learn two things. We get two aspects. The drama has two purposes. One purpose of a drama is entertainment, and the other is education. Through the drama, Krishna is teaching what happens when one surrenders to him and what happens when one goes against him. He is playing this drama with his own people, but eventually it's a drama. And those who are playing different roles, they're his people. Like just consider, who is Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha? Joy and Vijay. His gatekeeper, his eternal associates. Thank you. There's some questions here. Okay, so this question is from Smita Krishna. I think Sunil Mohan, you had this question. Dear Guru Maharaj, Pamho, AGT, your divine AGT, your divine grace. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Question, with reference to the second times Lord Brahma began when the life of information sampradaya of Lord Shiva get in, fit in, thank you. Okay, it's your handwriting. Tell me, what was the question? They say that doctors' handwritings, only the compounders can read.
The reference to the two lines Lord Brahma began with
Okay, with the what's that? With the reference to the
reference to the two lines of Lord Brahma.
two lines of Lord Brahma mean?
The two lines Lord Brahma began. Where is the line of information in the Sampradaya of Lord Shiva fitting?
Okay, okay. Two lines meaning, okay, two streams, Upanishads and Puran, where Lord Shiva fits in. Lord Shiva actually is coming in the Sampradaya of Shankarshan, the Rudra Sampradaya. He has his own Sampradaya, right? And Rudra Sampradaya is a Vaishnava Sampradaya. Ultimately, they all are going to the spiritual sky. So, Lord Shiva is not making any, I mean, his associates are Bhuta, Preta, Pishachas, etc. But his line of teaching is Rudra Sampradaya, which is one of the Vaishnav Sampradayas that ultimately goes back, I mean, takes one to Vaikuntha. Yes, Hemanga?
When Vidur left,
When?
when Vidur left, when Vidur left after getting this kuchbodi from Dhrutarash, what happened to Mother
When what ends?
Vidur, when Vidura left,
Oh, when Vidura left. Yeah.
what happened to Mother Vimala, his wife?
His wife. I don't know. Like maybe, I mean, naturally, he was a part of the royal family. So she was maintained naturally. But, yeah. This is from Radha, who is, okay, okay. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. My question is, what is the meaning of Manvantar? Okay. Manvantar means the reign of a Manu. You see, there are 14 Manus in a day of Brahma. So they come and take charge of the affairs of this world for that for 71 Chaturjugas. That 71 Chaturjuga period of a Manu's reign is called Manvantar. Is that all right? Okay. Okay. Chittahari Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much. As we know that Kshatriyas act on the advice of Brahmanas or spiritual master, so why Bhishma rejected the instruction of Parashuram and rejected him also, considering him not fit to be a spiritual master? Yeah. So, you see, spiritual master or the Brahmana or a superior has to be followed only as long his instructions are appropriate. When the instruction becomes inappropriate, then the consideration can be of rejecting him. So that's what Bhishma said. And another thing to consider here, that Parshuram was his Shiksha Guru, Astra Shiksha Guru. He, not his spiritual guru. Okay. From internet, few questions. Let me see. Question from Marian. As Kshatriyas attacking the suitable candidate for the girls, I think you said that is nature of a Kshatriya. I'm confused. Does this mean Kshatriyas are by nature envious? Yes. Like the mode of passion is like that. I want it, I want it. When somebody else gets it, I'm not happy about it. And like, why should we even consider Kshatriyas? Do you use cricket match, Marian, you're from England? Or do you watch football match? When a team makes a goal, then what do the other opponent feel like? Huh? Right. Take revenge. You scored one goal, I'll make two. And this is how the battle goes on. Those days they used to fight literally, but now they fight in a subtle way on the playground. Or when there is, say, boxing or wrestling, then they fight in a real way. But that's nothing like this wars that the Kshatriyas used to get into. So that war is either I die or you die. They don't say either I die. I live, you die. Srimati Radhika Devi Dasi, Hyderabad. Please accept my most humble obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to your holiness, Guru Maharaj. Sometime we find some historical episode externally not so exemplary. How to take them? Yeah, like use your intelligence and accept whatever is favorable to your Krishna consciousness and reject whatever is not. Anukullasya sankalpa, pratikullasya vivarjanam. Not that whatever you hear, you have to accept it, or whatever you read, unless it's from the scriptures, then you have to use the intelligence. Another question from Srimati Radhika. Gurudev, sometimes we find some historical... Okay. Same question. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Yudhishthir was always righteous and truthful. How could he stake his brothers? Was this not against dharma? What lesson has been taught through these pastimes? This is from Nishingananda. Yes, he was righteous, and that's why he accepted. When he staked and he lost, he said, fine, I lost it. That is the sign of his righteousness. What he was taking, that is a game, part of the game. In the game, one can stake whatever belongs to him. So in the Vedic culture, the brothers, younger brothers, belong to the elder brother. So in a way, yes, they're elder brother's property. So if the elder brother wants to stake, like as we are seeing, Yudhishthira Maharaj had the right to do that, and he did it. And another thing is that shows the danger of gambling. So Kali Yuga is about to begin. That's why this example has been cited. Gambling is extremely dangerous, especially in the age of Kali, where people are going to be naturally untruthful. It's not a fair game of dice, it's a cheating game of dice. So this one is from Ram Govind. Who is Ram Govind? Okay. why did Vichitravirja not accept Amba as is one of his wives? I have answered this. Did you hear the question answer? I have already answered it. That, you see, it was not up to Vichitravirja. Amba said that he already gave her heart to Shalva. So that's why he was sent back to Shalva. But then Shalva didn't accept and said, you accept Bhishma because he took you. And so when she approached Bhishma, Bhishma refused to accept her. So the thing was going on between her and Bhishma. So there was no consideration of Vichitravirja. He was not in the picture. This is from Palika. Where is Palika? Okay. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for the class. I just wanted to clarify a point you made earlier. In Vedic culture, women are better to stay at home and learn how to be a perfect wife. If I have understood correctly, does this mean we should not qualify ourselves with material qualifications such as MBAs? If so, will that not become more difficult to become married? Well, you see, time has changed. Situation has changed. Those days, I mean, say for example, even few years back, 50 years back, no women went to work outside. At the most, they would become teachers, but not office work. Women would not go and work outside in offices and all. I mean, that's I'm talking about 50 years back. Even in UK, you can see that. When you read the early books of early writers like Jane Austen, George Eliot, do you find any woman going to office to work? So that shows. Even in England, women didn't go to work. As I said, at the most they would become teachers or nurses. Even during the Battle of Crimea, there was no nurses. When Florence Nightingale wanted to go to the Battle of Crimea to nurse, I mean, there was a big objection. Why should a woman go to the battlefield? She was the first woman who became a nurse. Otherwise, the nurses were all men. But in 50, 100 years, things have changed so much. Now, as you said, like if a girl doesn't have MBA, she can't get married. That's what you said. Yeah, right. If a woman doesn't have a qualification, it becomes difficult for her to get married. Right. But if the husband is intelligent, he should not look for a too qualified, materially qualified woman. Because then she won't be submissive. Isn't it? Ananta Prem. Okay. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. I have understood that the kingdom of Shantanu was the Moon dynasty. I am confused on this. Please, I have heard that Jadava dynasty is the Moon dynasty. Yeah, both are. Kuru dynasty, Jadu dynasty, they are coming from Moon god. So originally it started there, but then it branches off also. Ramanuja Krishna Das, India. Thanks for your enlightening discourse. I am Ramanuja Krishna Das, Indore. Guru Maharaj, in the Dhruva Charitra, which Purana has this shloka, Swamin Kritarthosmi Barangna Jache. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. That I am completely indebted, I have been completely successful. I do not want any more benediction. Yesh Govinda, Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, among 4 regulative principles, one is no gambling. Why would Yudhishthira Maharaj play the game of dice when it is breaking 4th regulative principles? Yeah. You see, certain things that are forbidden now, for Kshatriyas it was allowed in some occasions. Like the Kshatriyas allowed to drink, the Kshatriyas allowed to eat meat. But that eating meat was sanctified meat. The animals that have been sacrificed and have been elevated to the higher situation, that meat was eaten. Another thing is that the Kshatriyas, when they're fighting, then they have to resort to, meat. When the Kshatriyas go out hunting, the Kshatriyas are allowed to eat meat. Kshatriyas are allowed to drink, but in different occasions. Not take a bottle of whiskey and start drinking in the morning. No, not like that. And you have a second question. As you mentioned that Pandavas and Draupadi were put at stake in the game of dice by Yudhishthira Maharaj. How could Yudhishthira Maharaj, being a devotee of the Lord, put his own family members at stake in a gambling? So you got the answer? I already. Like, you see, the Kshatriyas are allowed to indulge in certain things, like gambling is one thing, that he is allowed to gamble. And because that is, conducive to, that is, their propensity, their nature is like that. Like, their whole life is a gamble. When they go to a battlefield, it's a gamble. They may not come back home. That is how they used to live their lives. And here, a Kshatriya has the right to put anything in stake that belongs to him. Since it's a Vedic culture that the younger brothers belong to the elder brother, so the elder brother had the right to put him on a stake. I mean, in a gamble, place as a stake. This is from Giant. All glories to Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. My question is, although Mother Ganga has no fault, still she has to come down to fulfill King Shantanu's desire. So is it like that even if their desire for others, desire for you, then also we have to come back to this world? So is it like that even if others desire for you, then also you have to come back? Here we have to understand that Ganga was instructed by Brahma. That's why Ganga came. Otherwise Ganga wouldn't have come. But since her authority, Brahma suggested, look, Ganga, he desired you. So not that, Shantanu desired and that's why Ganga had to come. But Shantanu desired, Brahma thought, okay, let him fulfill that desire. And also, as I said, it's like a drama. The plot is, one plot leads to another plot. Ganga had to come because of this 8 Vasus. So, Leelananda Das. Can you identify? Okay. Dandavat Pranam Guru Maharaj. Didn't Bhishma Dev commit Guru Aparadh fighting with Parasuram? No, because Parasuram challenged him. Bhishma didn't want to fight with him. Parasuram challenged him. That's why he fought. Mohit, dearest Guru Maharaj, in previous session, you very wonderfully explained the importance of brahmacharya and Srila Prabhupada's desire for his boys to remain brahmacharis. Remaining brahmacharis throughout life appears very exciting. I personally feel much attracted to the brahmacharis, for they have full time for serving Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, as a student, what should be my practices and dealing and consciousness to serve the mission? Please enlighten. So when you are a student, when you are studying, study. Whatever you're doing, do it well. Right? When you finish your studies, then you can decide. Right? And also right after finishing your studies. After finishing your studies, work for 2 years. All right? And then after 2 years, you decide. Okay. If you feel that that life is so wonderful, then stay there. But if you feel that that life is so hellish, then it'll be helpful for you to become fixed up in Krishna consciousness. Because then you know that how terrible that life is. Okay. Sunya. Who is Sunya? Bhubaneswar. How do you spell your name? Oh, okay. I see. I was wondering what is Sunya. It's Surya. Yeah. Okay. Dear Guruji, Parshuramji is one of the avatars. Yes or no, Guruji? If so, then how in form of a Shiksha Guru, even his instructions are refuted by a divine disciple like Devavrata in the name of a vow for personal reasons only, that is, for a dynasty only, which disproves Vedic standard and guru-disciple relationship. So, as I mentioned, okay, now a new point is coming up. Parashuram as an incarnation. Parashuram was a Shaktavesh avatar. He was empowered incarnation. He was not the Lord himself appearing, but a jiva soul empowered by the Lord. That is called Shaktavesh avatar. Parashuram was a Shaktavesh avatar. Shaktavesh avatars are jivas. In order to accomplish certain mission, they are empowered by the Lord, specially powered by the Lord. And when that purpose is served, then that power is withdrawn. Parashuram's power was withdrawn by Lord Ramchandra. When Parashuram challenged Lord Ramchandra, when Lord Ramchandra broke the bow of Lord Shiva, then Parashuram came and challenged him. And at that time, Lord Ramchandra took the potency that he invested on him from him. And since then, Parashuram has become, in simple words, he lost his potency that he was empowered with. Okay, here the point has been made again and again that Parashuram instructed in a way which was not right. Somebody took a vow that he is not going to get married. He'll remain a celibacy all his life. Now, if somebody forces, no, you have to do it because I'm your guru, you have to listen to me. So Bhishmadev considered that you may be my guru, but the thing is, the way you are instructing me, that is not befitting a guru's instruction. So that's why he rejected. I mean, said that that kind of guru should be rejected. Karunika Devi Dasi, Pranam Guru Maharaj, in the story of Mahabharata, when Draupadi was brought dragging by Dushashan, why elder of the Sabha did not object. Her husbands were slaves at that time, but Bhishma and Dronacharya, elders, why kept quiet? Please explain. Yeah, you see, the Vedic culture is that when you are subordinate to somebody, you don't go against him. Nobody stands up against the king. Because going against the king means revolting. Revolution is the worst kind of crime. So that is one consideration. There is another consideration in this respect. That when Bhishma Dev was instructing all these wise, giving all the wise instructions to Yudhishthir Maharaj, Draupadi was smiling. So Bhishma asked Draupadi, why are you smiling? Then Draupadi said, where was your wisdom when I was dragged in the assembly in front of everybody and humiliated in that way? Then Bhishma said, those days I was eating the food of Duryodhan. And that's why my consciousness became contaminated. But now that blood has been drained out of my body. I told you not take any more. Already quite a few. Now that the blood is drained, that contaminated blood is drained out of my body. Therefore, now my consciousness is clear. Yeah, that question always comes. Why Bhishma didn't protest? Why the elders didn't protest? And they didn't protest because Bhishma was confused. Draupadi asked Bhishma. And Bhishma said, I am bewildered. I don't know what to say. The question actually was, Draupadi asked, did Yudhishthir Maharaj take me after he lost himself or before he lost himself? So her point was, before he lost himself, then what right does he have to stake me? Mukul Srivastav. Oh, okay, okay. Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam, I submit my two questions. Is the cursed Vasu was reborn as Bhishma, you mean? Huh? Bhishma, how do you spell Bhishma? Bhishma, how do you spell it? Okay, then? Then? Where's the MA here? Okay. Okay. Yes. The one of the Vasus is Bhishma who stole the cow. One of the Vasus became Bhishma. Bhishma Pitamaha led a life full of sacrifices. Why his end was so pathetic? Like pathetic, like we have to understand that before death, if there is suffering, it's actually good. Because then you get completely sick and tired of this material nature. If you suffer too much, do you want to come back to that situation? So that's why it is said that it's good to suffer before dying. Then you wonder, when am I going to leave? When am I going to go out of here? Right? Then you don't think, when am I going to come back here? Jamuna Priya Devi Dasi. Dear most Guru Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances at your soft lotus feet. How can I thank you for your classes? I personally find Draupadi's story life quite painful, especially the gambling match episode. I understand that Bhishma was or had to act loyal to Duryodhan. You wonderfully narrated how Bhishma Dev pretty much bent over backwards to keep his vow. Dear Guru Maharaj, how is it then that Bhishma, who was so staunch a person on principles, said nothing during Draupadi's disrobing episode, especially when she pleaded to him in her destitute condition? How do I understand this? So he got the answer. Okay. Anirudh Sarup Das. Okay. Is Srila Prabhupada Shaktavesh avatar? Prabhupada can be seen as Shaktavesh avatar, but if you ask me, I'll say Prabhupada is much greater than a Shaktavesh avatar. We don't know who Prabhupada is. Once Prabhupada was asked and Prabhupada said, if I tell you, you'll faint. What does it mean? Did anyone faint when he said Prabhupada is Shaktavesh avatar? So from that you can make out.